Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another weekly dose of aviation. And in today's video we're going to talk about an A330 that had a technical issue, an ATR overrunning the runway and diverted flights over China and Taiwan. So today we'll start off the video with our closed airspace in between China and Taiwan. So this happened on 30th December and it was caused by Chinese military operations across the South China Sea and East China Sea. So they were carrying out a lot of exercises including military drills and sea drills. So they operated a lot of aircraft and they had sea operations, land operations happening in that area. So they closed the airspace there for a whole day, which meant that all air traffic had to divert, as you can see on the Flight Radar app. All the air traffic had to go around. This caused hours and hours of delays. So the normal Hong Kong to Taiwan route normally took 4 hours, and this time it took 6 due to the diversions. So it didn't make everything much longer. But now moving on, we move on to a British Coast Guard operation that happened on the 2nd of January, so this year, quite recent. And it was caused by two men that decided to go swimming in the sea, and then due to strong currents and heavy wind they got lost, which caused the Coast Guard that needed to get involved for over 6 hours. The operation found one man, but one man was still remained unfound and is not found to this day. The operation had 2 helicopters and 1 plane taking action, and they took turns trying to find each other and the person. So now we move on to Nepal and to Asia, where I talk about an ATR 72-500 that overran the runway on January 2nd. So this aircraft departed from Nepal to Nepal. It was a 1 hour and a half flight, but coming into landing, the aircraft, after passing the thresholds on approach, it was at 200 feet, and halfway through the runway it touched down. This was a normal 3-kilometer runway. It touched down at 1.5 kilometers. It was going quite quickly for an ATR. It was going at 140 knots. It touched down and it overran the runway by over 400 feet, so quite a big overrun. It landed over the airport fencing and it landed above a creek. All the passengers, there was 50 on board, and they all got out safely. So it is quite lucky that there was no casualties from a hit that big, as the aircraft did lose its main front landing gear and damage its back, and the aircraft will most likely be scrapped. But now we move on to an Aer Lingus A330. This happened last year on December the 30th. The aircraft had to divert to Manchester after the pilots saw that they had a technical issue with the aircraft. Aer Lingus has not stated what the actual issue was. They've just said that there was an issue with the aircraft. So the aircraft diverted to Manchester, and as soon as it landed they got met with emergency services, such as there was a lot of fire services and 1 police car from what I can see. So as you can see on the video, the plane didn't even taxi off the runway, it stayed on the runway and then services met. From what I think, it looks like a reverse thrust problem, so I think they only had 1 reverse thrust, which means they had to divert back to Manchester. But all the passengers were safe and got another flight back to the destination. So now we're on our last story of this week, and it's an A350 that also had to divert, but this time halfway across the Atlantic. So it was an A350 Air Caribbeans, and it departed on 30th of December from Paris Orly to Fort de France in Caribbean. It encountered a technical issue halfway over the Atlantic and had to divert back to Paris Orly Airport. Altogether the flight took approximately 9 hours to get nowhere as well, and the crew had to wait on the ground for 2 hours before the issue was solved, and they were back on the way to the Caribbean. And this caused severe delays for the rest of the day, as the aircraft was also heading back from Fort de France to Paris Orly on the same day, causing quite large delays, as you could probably tell. So anyways, that's all from me this week. As you can see, it's been quite a busy week and a lot of emergencies have been happening. So I hope you have enjoyed this video, and please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.